Welcome everyone to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Today we have special guest Jonah Canter with Canter Construction and so much more, which we're going to talk about. So I don't know how long we've known each other, probably 15 years at this point, maybe 10.
Yeah, I would say closer to 15. It was when I first got started trying to do real estate repairs is how I had met you originally, and then obviously Aaron vicariously through you.
So then let's talk about how you got into real estate repairs, the construction business here in Charleston, and then talk about Canter Construction and all the other stuff you've got going on.
Yeah, so I'm like the atypical contractor, to be honest with you. I never grew up in a family of contractors. When I was first growing up, the first job I had was building docks, which is just crazy. I just loved it because it was on the water.
Where are you from?
Columbia originally, Blythewood, which is outside of Columbia. So when I moved down here, it was around probably about 20 years old. That's when I started building docks and kind of cut my teeth on that. It's basic framing. You're in the sun. You can go fishing. It's a fun job to start out with and learn everything. But after doing that for a while, I realized that's not a thing to do for your whole life, right? So I had a brother-in-law at the time who was working for a software startup, and it was called Book Surge. It was here in Charleston. And they were printing one book at a time, and they said, hey, we need a guy in the shipping department. And there was these two hippie dudes that were like, fuck it, we're out. We're going to Colorado. And they just left this void of the shipping department. And they said, we'll give you $11 an hour. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. So I went in, and I'm the kind of guy, if you give me a shovel, I'm going to dig you the best ditch. I'm going to go full in with whatever I do. So, for me, I just revamped their whole shipping department, and then they kept giving me more and more. And so to fast forward through the whole process, it became where I was a queue manager, then a production manager. And then an opportunity came up where they wanted to open a facility in the Netherlands. And mind you, I was long hair, not all the tattoos, single. And I was like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. And so the funny thing about me though was I was thinking oh, I got to be a businessman, right? So I shaved my all my hair off. I had long hair, golden locks, surfer looking dude. And I remember when I landed in the Netherlands, the first guy I met, long hair. And I was like, fuck. And so I joke with my wife now that every time I try to grow my hair out now, I grow a hockey mullet. Nothing up here grows, it's just long. So that was the cutoff for the hair. But
hockey mullets are hot.
They're coming back. I can tell you that much. But no, it was so that experience led me to the Netherlands. It really I grew up, immensely learning how to open these facilities. Amazon ended up acquiring the company. I ended up working for Amazon for a certain amount of time as a FC integration manager.
But what year is this?
This is probably early 2000s-ish. So at a certain point, I had made a lot of really good money there, and I wanted to get back into doing something related to construction. And so, this ended up being around 2006 that I had the brainiac idea, I'm going to open a cabinet company. So I did that. And as you know, the years that follow, as we get up to 2008, what technically happened in the real estate market, well, that's what basically put an end to the cabinet company. I've been doing it for a while, making okay money. Was the interesting story. I was walking down Cannon Street, I believe, downtown, and on the opposite side was the guys that had started the original company. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to help this lady out with the kitchen, slugging it out. And they were like, we need an operations manager. We're starting another company. And I was like, what? And they said, come across the street. So that lady got I have a flat tire call, walked across the street. And that was the second iteration of a software company with those guys that I worked for. And the lead into what I'm doing now is that they allowed me to keep my construction company and run it because we had a relationship. They knew how hard I worked before. And so I was able to work for them. And this junction was I was licensing publisher content. So I was going to Comic-Con and meeting with Marvel and all these people to get their content. All the while, and this is where the segue is into meeting you, we were starting to go away from the kitchen cabinets and go into more general contracting. And so with my experience with Amazon and these other businesses, one thing that I did one night is I remember sitting on my couch with a 6-pack of beer, and I was like, I don't ever want to pay for leads. I don't ever want to have to go to Thumbtack or whatever, or Google AdWords at the time. And so I was like, well, how do I do this? And so I started to search, and I realized that you real estate agents have your real estate emails publicly available for the most part, or where they're not, you can tell the naming convention, like, Aaron.Spencer or whatever. Yeah. So, anyways, I harvested about 1,000 emails from real estate agents.
And you spam the fuck out of us.
Yes. And I said, hey, I'm a general contractor. I can take care of your CL100s. I can take care of your repair addendums, whatever. And that's, I believe, what the first interaction I had with you was one of those emails. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because I had sent like 1,000 out, and I only got like 30 responses. And out of those 30 responses, I got about 12 actual leads into jobs. But statistically, that's great, right? Mm-hmm. And it's sweat equity. Mm-hmm. And so that was the genesis of Canter Construction, is taking care of the real estate agents, the repair addendums. Naturally, the company, you mature over time, and people go, oh, so I see you can fix a door latch and, do all these other things. Can you do a kitchen remodel? And so we slowly grew into doing much larger jobs. And unfortunately, we kind of grew out of the repair stuff because it became more of a distraction. Mm-hmm. But to this day, I always tell people, if they're like, what business should I start? I always tell them, whatever town you're in, start a repair business and get in bed with the real estate agents, because they will keep you funded. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful because you have a real estate agent on either side, typically 2 couples. It's a deal where it's got to get done for the most part. So, and then the people that are selling, they remember you from helping them out. And the people that are buying are like, oh, well, this is the only contractor I know in the area. I just moved here. Can you build me a deck? So those are like free ways of getting, leads without paying for them. And yeah, I wrote an article about it that I have on my website for trying to help other people in the business, to learn how to basically get started. So,
well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I want to get nerdy on kitchen cabinets for a moment, since that was your specialty for a little bit. Explain why going the cheap route with a kitchen cabinet does not behoove you in the long run.
I think
and get specific with materials.
Yeah, so I think it's. I was having this conversation actually yesterday with a client, kind of similar vein of question, but I think it's all situational. So when you see somebody who is trying to flip a house really quick, right? They want the aesthetics to look good, but they don't. It's good in theory, horrible in practice. Meaning, you can tell. We all know when you open a drawer from a cheap cabinet, it's like, ugh, it doesn't have slow close.
This is why I hate flip houses, everyone.
Yes, it's why this is kind of off subject, but it's why you should always ask for what permits were pulled when you can tell a house is in a depreciated neighborhood and it's probably a flip. To protect your clients, most of those people, they won't pull permits, and so that's a way to make sure it's done on the up and up, so to say. But back to the cabinet part. For flippers, they don't care. They'll do what's called flat packed, and I don't know if you know what it is, but these are typically, they come out of Vietnam. They'll say they're, solid wood doors and drawers and sides, but they get assembled here once they get shipped across the ocean, and then they go in. Those are cheaper cabinets. They typically have, cheaper selections, limited drawer fronts, colors, all of that.
But wait, so is it like MDF, but they say that it's solid wood?
No, I mean, when they say it's solid wood, but it's it's not put together in a climate controlled facility. Okay. And so you get these cabinets that end up like parallelograms, or you're asking the cabinet distributor to put a cabinet together that was cut out on a CNC machine in Vietnam.
Okay, so avoid flat packed. That's what I think is one of the things that people need to know, because we don't know what the lingo is or whatever.
I would say this: if you have a townhouse and it's a rental, there's nothing wrong with buying those, right? I don't want to totally say that that's a horrible, product. It has its place. Mm-hmm. But if you're a homeowner, you own your house, I would never put those in. Right. And I'm sure there's people that say, oh, he's wrong or whatever, but I want a cabinet that's, made in a facility. It's put together in a facility. I just think overall you get a better quality product. But again, back to the selections, a lot of these flat pack companies have limited colors and, door fronts and drawer fronts. So, Aaron, to what you were asking, they all have their certain place. Mm-hmm. But if it was for somebody who bought a house and it's their personal home, you want to go with probably a semi-custom line, because it's going to give you the quality you need and all the options. Mm-hmm. So.
And do you have a favorite material? Wood? Favorite wood?
What's your favorite
most cabinets
wood?
End up being painted. It just depends. I mean, a lot of what you see now, and I think it's a trend that's going to last for a while, but it may kind of get phased out, is this like Danish modern look, you know, where you have like the acacia colored, like sandalwood color vanities and kitchen cabinets with like white countertops. I personally really love it. I like that modern kind of look. So it just depends. I don't know. It depends on the home. One thing that frustrates me when I work with designers down here is like they throw up coastal all over you. It's like, bleh, you know, it's like white on white on white and all that.
Thank you.
One thing I like, and there's a particular designer that I've started working with. She pulls her inspiration from the places.
Her
name is Paige Dick. She's a Paige Interiors. She has lived in LA. She's lived in New York. I believe New Mexico, Colorado.
She's from Colorado, yeah. I talked to her.
She's been on, oh, that's right. I put you in touch with her. Really, I really enjoy her. I was with her yesterday shooting some content. But what I like about her is that she pulls influences from the places that she's been.
Right.
She's matured beyond, I'm in one area. Now, and that's what I'm going to serve up to you. Now, we all know, as you know with clients, some people move here and that's what they want, right? So if mama wants it, mama gets it. Right? We got to give that to them. But that's not always the case. Some people may move here. I have a client that's moving from Malibu, actually, through you, Lawrence. And, you know, he has a kind of vibe that's a kind of a modern Cali vibe, but he's bought a house on Wadmalaw that doesn't necessarily have that exact vibe. And so it's like, how are we going to work with a designer in order to, you know, achieve that kind of look for them, but do it here in the Low Country? So I like when designers pull from different aspects, you know, to help with the designs for the clients. So.
Definitely. Oh, I have another cabinet question. Sorry, we're like belaboring cabinets, but you are the expert. Talk about the difference between doing the semi-custom versus site-built in terms of like cost and like what would you do?
Again, I hate to be regurgitated situational, but site-built cabinets have their place where you may have an irregular situation, right? So you have full custom lines, you have semi-custom lines, and with like a semi-custom line, they can maybe make a couple of the cabinets an odd size. So your rough opening is your RO from wall to wall dictates what cabinets can go in there. Site-built cabinets, you can literally build the cabinet to whatever size you want. So if a client, you know, your standard sizes are like, you know, 24, 36, 48. But if a client had a weird situation where they wanted something that was 39 3/4, you know, a full custom guy can build that in their shop, or a site-built cabinet guy can build the frames, everything on site. So one thing that some people don't like about on-site built cabinets is that because they're literally built on site, you know, you can't really reuse them if you ever want to like take the cabinets out. You know, they get ripped out. Whereas if you have a standard cabinet that you bought from like a semi-custom cabinet line, you might be able to use that and throw it in your laundry room or whatever.
Got it. Yeah. And then when people ask you about kitchen renovations, okay, because I mean, we're constantly in properties and trying to sell places, and you know, I'll tell them like, my guess is now it's like $100,000, but at least $75,000. Is that about right in terms of doing a complete kitchen renovation?
It is, and you have to draw back to what happened with COVID to really answer that. You know, COVID threw the supply chains and everything out of whack. I tell people all the time that, you know, I doubled my gross profits during COVID, but my net revenue went down because, you know, we were doing a ton of more work, but the cost of materials and everything skyrocketed. So, you know, you were like treading water doing the, you know, more work for the same money essentially. And what that did with cabinets, as I said, is these facilities shut down, and then they had backlogs of cabinets or whatever to produce. So how they affected that was they started raising prices. Well, what happens when that happens is that they don't necessarily all of a sudden start ticking their numbers down, because if people are still willing to pay it, they will keep producing it at that amount. And so I think cabinets have gone up. The average kitchen that I'm doing, and I would say, you know, in a house that's 24 to 100 square feet to 3,000 square feet, is in that 60 to 100 range. And the biggest component of all of that and figuring out is, you know, what type of countertops, what kind of cabinets, are they semi-custom colors? Are you going with a natural wood, a stain or whatever? That can really be the bigger driver and how that cost swing goes.
So I know, obviously I know you, and I know that the way that you approach business is totally different and very well thought out. And you are a tech person, and you've always got your iPad, and you're extremely organized and stuff. Tell us about how that has shaped your marketing, your business, and then some of the other companies that you've grown into, and how it's affected your success.
So I think, I'm 43 years old, and so I'm one of those weird people. I don't know if they call us Zennials or whatever, but it's the people who are used to like seeing a rotary phone, and knew how it worked, but we also have iPhones. Mm-hmm. So we fit in those two worlds very strangely and well, I would think. And so I've always been cognizant of the fact that, the construction industry as a whole typically has people that are not technologically savvy for the most part. Mm-hmm. But I knew that was an important part, whether it be through social media. One of my favorite things I have in my pocket is a dot card. And people are blown away because they'll go, "You got a business card?" And I'm like, "No." And I'll show them the dot card, and it's a digital card with a QR code and a NFIC. And I could bump the back of their phone, and they have all my info. They have my Instagram. Right? They can click on stuff, so technology has improved.
Did they get your dick pics with that?
No. Those are for special people and special clients only. Should I say it's a long list?
Is your wife going to listen to this?
She's going to love it if she gets to this point. No, but you have to use technology to your benefit, and I think a lot of people kind of relate to that. Like a lot of people that are in the boomer age group, they still use iPads and iPhones, and they're surprised when I come with an iPad and I have all that. They can still relate to it, but as far as like technology goes. It goes beyond just the physical items, the dot card, the iPads. Of course, those make us better. But I think it's the social media aspect. I saw that like 4 or 5 years ago with Instagram. And I was like, man, this is interesting because, for instance, I can have my website with a ton of pictures, but I would watch my Google Analytics and see the tree patterns of how people would come in and out. They just pop in and pop out. Mm-hmm. Like the About page, they don't come looking for this face. Right. They don't even care. They literally, the behavior pattern is, oh, he does kitchens, oh, he does bathrooms, oh, he does additions. Great, I'm calling him. That's literally it.
Right.
But that only tells half the story. Whereas Instagram and the infinite, scrolling that we do on the toilet most of the time, take a 45-hour shit.
Speak for yourself.
And we're just going on and on and on.
It's a man thing.
Well, it's what I recognized early on was a beautiful way of putting all of not only your specialty projects on there, but also showcasing tons more projects for inspiration. So now with my Instagram account, when I tell people, hey, give me a follow, it's not because I'm trying to be an influencer. It's not because I want like 5,000 followers or whatever. I just go look at a lot of kitchens or baths or whatever that we put on there. And if you have a question, ask me about it. So what do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? So if you see a countertop, I get questions all the time. What is the name of that? What's the paint color? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The social media aspect of it really helps me when I'm building a project because it gives inspiration to the clients. So technology as a whole, I think we're going to always have to have it. We've even got down to, and I've seen this happening on Instagram, so it's not like we're the cool kids that invented this, but I saw it, loved it, and we've been implementing it as QR codes that have product descriptions. They have our drawings, structural engineer drawings. So for instance, when you're going into a project and I have one downtown right now, it's 3 floors, 2 bathrooms, a laundry room, and a kitchen. Well, my site manager, Andrea, she has gone in with the designer, gotten all of the URL links and product codes and whatnot for the individual items for each room. She puts them into a package with a QR code. It's in Portuguese, Spanish, and English. It sticks on the wall, and the guys can go up to it. They scan the QR code, and for instance, the plumber goes, oh, okay, I need to go to the garage, and here is the faucet.
Brilliant.
Here is the whatever. And so what it does is does it somehow all of a sudden my jobs are moving more efficiently? No, but when a client comes in and they see that level of granularity and attention to detail, it's a showcase of who we are as a company and what we're trying to do.
You are the most organized and detailed contractor, hands down, like it without a doubt.
You're the most organized and detailed podcast guest we've ever had. that email you sent us last week about what we were going to talk about. I was like, wow, is this happening?
He has a lot to say.
But we need to change the name. It's going to be To the Right of the Two.
I know. Everybody complains about when they're not actually between the two brokers, Jonah. Yes.
But then you spend the whole time doing this.
I know.
Yeah, and Erin has a crick in her neck
today. So. That's what happens when you approach 40. You just sleep weird and
everything starts to fall apart.
Your body doesn't operate the next day.
One thing to, you obviously understand marketing. You look at marketing. I think this is one thing that entrepreneurs often don't do. And like, by the way, if you're a real estate agent or whatever your business is, there's things that they can learn from everything that you're doing. But one thing that you taught Erin and I early on in our business was the importance of Google reviews. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I didn't know at the beginning that I should be kind of, wholesale to Google per se. I had started on this website called Porch. Lowe's had started it, and there was a relationship between them, and I won't go into it, but they had a really pretty site you could review, and I was like, man, this is great. So I had some people reviewing on that. And then I realized that when I would send them the link, I think they had to like create a login or an account. It was a real big pain in the ass, right? When you're asking, the art of asking somebody, you want to make whatever it is easy for them, right? If you have to jump through 5 steps to do it, you're more than likely not going to do it. So then I shifted over to Google, realizing that 99% of the population has a Google account, right? You don't have to create an account to give me a review. The reviews, the art of asking is very important because you're going to get bad reviews. You can never run away from that. And to this day, I can act like they don't bother me. And the fact that they do is a testament to how much I do care, But when it comes to the good reviews, asking for these is beyond just saying like, I'm the best thing on earth. It's really showing other people who may find you online that you do a lot of different stuff and you do it well. So I joke with my team. I'm like, hey, if you're a fence builder and you got a 2.0 star rating, you fucking suck because your job is to build fences, right? I've got 43 touch points on any given job that I do. And we do kitchens, baths, additions, screen porches, custom built cabinets. I mean, a myriad of things. And I'd like to think we fire on all cylinders for the most part. So when I talk to my clients about that, I'm like, you don't need me to give you somebody that's worked, like cherry pick somebody as a reference. Go read the reviews. And I tell them, read the bad ones, because what's important is how I deal with those bad ones, right? I'm not an ass. It's like, I don't like you. You hurt my feelings. It's like, sorry you feel that. It's very judicious. It's like, sorry you feel that way. We didn't, make things perfect for you. If we can do anything for you in the future, we'll absolutely be there. And it's all about, that's setting the stage for clients saying, and it's funny to say this, yes, I'm a mature adult who can handle tough situations, But the reviews are important, and why we all kind of know that is because at a certain point, I think when I was kind of digging into the details, the threshold is 20 reviews, like 5-star reviews. Once you get over that, you can start to see that Google is starting to pick up on these ambient data points, location, reviews, likelihood that somebody else has clicked on you or whatever, and they will start to present you or your company in the search results at the top. So Contractor Charleston, it looks out and says, oh, people, looked at X, Y, and Z, and then they'll push you up to that. It's kind of a spaghetti algorithm. Nobody really understands it. There's the companies out there with SEO, the search engine optimization, that like to, try to sell you on ideas of how to percolate you to the top. I tell people all the time, it's like ghost hunting, actually. It's like if you have an EVP recorder and a flashlight and a camera and you're in a spooky fucking house, sure, you might catch something. That's the same thing with like how Google works in the search engine and with SEO. But it's another reason why I write articles. I've got 2 on my website. It's not because I like the sound of my own voice, even though it's really sexy. It's moreover because those articles, I've done other podcasts, they're on other people's websites. And it's important because a person in New York who lives in New York and is never going to use me will pop through their IP address into my website, right? Person in LA and wherever. And so what happens is that all kind of adds up to that, witch's brew of getting the relevance with Google. It's like, I know I'll never get that person's business, but because they started to ping my website from other locations, it builds up the relevance in Google. So there's a myriad of things that you can do beyond the reviews to help, yourself percolate to the top. So,
Jonah, you are brilliant at business and marketing and have given everybody so many tips already. If it's okay, we'd like to have you back in the same exact outfits for another episode.
I'd love it.
Are you willing to do it?
I am. Aaron, you got to get your neck uncricked. You got to ask a lot more questions. I'm going to expect a lot out of you. You're going to be hosting the next one full on. So.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
You, ladies.
I've never heard about a spaghetti algorithm, but I'm going to be talking about it all weekend.
Like she knows what it is.
Yeah.
Stacy's favorite thing to do.
Fuck you.
Plug your
Jonah,
Insta.
yes. Tell everybody your website, Instagram, where to find you.
So it's Canter Construction is my Instagram handle.
Canter Construction.
You can find me on there. We have a really good social media team, Muse Lake, that does all my social media. So if people want to give me a follow, sure. It's a beautiful kind of photo dump and reels of what we do. And then, the website is just my name. It's Canter Construction with SC at the end. .com if anybody wants to check out the website. So.
Perfect. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Tag us on your social. Spread the word. We appreciate you listening so much. Thanks for tuning in.